Thanks to those joining me live and to those that'll be joining me on archive. And I'm being joined by the faceless man. What's up, Alex?
I am here. Jab the like button. Jab the like button, damn it.
Alex is too scared to face me one-on-one. That's what he's at. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's live in 53 minutes. Don't worry about it, AJ10. I don't know why it's saying that, but we're live and we're live right now. AJ10, man, the man with the facts. Absolutely. Is it a late show? No, we are on right now, AJ10. Haplotype, what's going on? DJ Mexicano de Tejas commented like 30 minutes ago. All right. Shout out to you. Shout out to everyone. We got a load.
And by the way, we spit facts left and right, so he doesn't even have to check us.
Right.
We spit them left and right.
Well, sometimes we got to check us, but it's all right. But it's okay. I mean, with that said, this is CalCast Wednesday, 10 p.m. Eastern time every day. I don't even have to say it anymore. You see that? Right above Calix? It just says it right there. And we're live. I don't even have to say it anymore, but I'm saying it anyway.
There it is.
Oops, there it is. And we got a poll out. And Calix, I need to know, man, because we got a poll out. I don't even know, honest to God, I don't even know who you voted for, bro. Who did you vote in this poll, this eliminator? We got Paul Williams. We got Callie Pavlik. We got Glenn Johnson, Evander, Real Deal Holyfield. Who'd you vote for?
The Punisher, Paul Williams. I went back and watched the Sean B. Mitchell fight the other day, too. That was his first fight that I remember them showing him on HBO and really getting him out there. And he just destroyed Sean B. Mitchell, who is a savvy veteran, late in his career, but a savvy veteran. So I voted for Paul the Punisher Williams. Wish his career would have went longer. Unfortunately, the bad accident. But I also wish he would have got the fights he deserved at 147, and he wasn't so ducked back when that division was so deep, and he had to move up to 154 and 160 because he was a problem at 140. A problem.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Look, there's been right now, the polls don't close till tomorrow. Okay. And I just dropped my Sharpie. This is an emergency. Hold on. All right. There we go. Callis was like, you don't have to write it down in Sharpie. I send you the whole thing on text. No, Sharpie. Okay. Look at this. Okay. But why aren't you guys vote? Like, Callie Pavlik's about to get eliminated, bro.
Is he really? Is this his last week?
No, not his last week, but he needs at least 10%. He's at 7%.
Oh,
okay.
Wow.
So let me tell you something. Say what you want about Frotch. He survived all 6 weeks. Okay. And he was like second place a couple times, Frotch. But maybe we'll put him out when some UK dudes show up, you know?
Callie Pavlik deserves to get to that past the eliminator. Like there's some good things. He deserves a week, man. There's some good things to talk about. The ups and downs of his career. Yeah. The first fight with Jermaine Taylor alone.
Yeah, he's got 7% of the votes. There's 71 votes in. The polls close tomorrow, 11 p.m. Eastern time when the show ends. And Glenn Johnson, 11%. He's hanging in there, but Glenn only 5% because it's his first week. All right. Evander Holyfield, 52%, and Punisher is not that far behind with 30%. However, Paul Williams is on his 4th week. So something.
Yeah. Evander's a strong. It's going to, you can't beat Evander in this poll.
Right.
It's not going to happen.
Somebody just say it. I have it as hurt. All right. I'll fix that. No, not to worry, guys. Not to worry. Okay. A big fight was announced. Speaking of that, all right, make sure you guys throw a jab at that like button. And as I fix this title, Calix Williams Hurd 2 has been announced. Satos, what's going on with that? What are your thoughts?
That fight was announced for December. I love the fight because this is I'm glad they did the immediate rematch. The reason being is Ruiz versus Joshua upset wouldn't have happened. "Quote unquote" upset, then this would have been talked about as the biggest upset in boxing. I mean, wouldn't you agree? Of this year, 2019. Yes.
It's still a contender. It's up there, but
yeah, it's still a clear second behind that one. But that was a shocking development to watch that unfold because not only did Williams beat him, it didn't unfold how you expected it to, because Williams was a guy in previous fights who fades late in fights, and he did not fade in that fight. I did not expect him to go 12 with Hurd, and I did not expect that beginning either for him to knock down and hurt Hurd and give him trouble. So that was just a shocking fight altogether, and I believe that Hurd was minus 700 going into that fight, which is steep odds, and just a shocking development. And I'm interested in seeing if if that was a fluke, or if, much like we think of Ruiz versus Joshua, that fight was more evenly matched than Vegas expected.
I think it was more evenly matched than Vegas expected.
Right, and stylistically as well. I think stylistically he gives a prize. The reason it was so shocking is Williams, in his only step up before that, was beaten by Charlo. So did not expect him. I was expecting to tune in that night and just see Hurd walk through him. To be honest, I expected him to stop him somewhere in the middle round, somewhere between like 4 and 6. Actually, I think I picked him to win that fight somewhere in there in the middle rounds, and to see Williams not only earlier with the power, to see Hurd kind of recover, and then Williams sort of withstand that and last all 12 rounds and won on the cards. It was just very surprising to see that fight play out like that. But I'm excited for the rematch. I just love when you see the immediate rematch for a fight like this, and you want to see if the first fight was a fluke or not. It's kind of like when Sergio Mora shocked Vernon Forrest, and we'll talk about Sergio Mora later for specific reasons. But we saw in the second fight, immediate rematch, Vernon Forrest proved that no, that was a fluke. Sergio Mora fought a great fight, but that was sort of a fluke, and they weren't evenly matched, and Vernon Forrest was the better fighter. So I'm interested in seeing if we'll see the same thing here with Hurd, if he's just the better fighter, if this was just two evenly matched guys where Williams was underrated.
Well, I'll tell you what. I think a lot of people have amnesia when it comes to knockouts. So when they saw Williams get knocked the hell out by Charlo, early in that fight, I think they just dismiss people that get knocked out like that. You know what I mean?
And sometimes a guy just takes the wrong punch, and you catch him at the right spot. And if you give him another shot, maybe that was a fluke.
Right. No, absolutely. Who do you have in this? You could always change your mind, of course, but right now, early pick, who would you pick?
I think Hurd is going to make the adjustments he needs to make. I just think Hurd's too good of a fighter, man. To just lose to Williams twice in a row. I think he's got more to do at 154, and eventually he'll settle in at middleweight. And I just think he's too good of a fighter for him to lose 2 straight fights to Williams. I just don't see it happening. So I think he'll right the ship and he'll win this fight.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Shout out to E. Woodson saying salute. Haplotype says salute to Calix. Shout out to AJ10, the fact checker. All right. Shout out to Alexis and Alana saying, hey, D-Style. Shout out to Haplotype. AJ, check out the fact that Frotch is the greatest super middleweight of all time for Calix.
Frotch gets the love.
Right. That's right. Her.
You know what boxing needs more Carl Frotch. The more cowbell. We need more Carl. We need more Frotch.
It definitely
boxing needs more.
If you mean it needs more guys, they'll take on everybody. Then I agree.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes. With gorgeous girlfriends. Yeah.
And you know what? Speaking of guys that fought everybody, I thought that's the reason Timothy Bradley won a week. You know what I mean? So I thought we could always there's no rule that we can't put a guy back in the mix. So maybe
he should come back.
Maybe we will see. But there's a couple of guys that recently retired, but we will get there for sure. And yes, if you guys want to refresh the page, I fixed it. Okay. Right. I fixed it. It's hurt now. Floyd versus Paul Williams.
Yes.
That would have gone, bro. Just really
Floyd
quick.
would have won. Look, Floyd would have won. that division was so deep, and I think that's what frustrated most of us about Floyd's. And look, I don't want to start that whole Floyd debate again because I know how the Floyd fans get, and look, I love watching Floyd fight, but I think the frustration with all of us was that division was so deep, and there were so many fighters he didn't fight. I remember him turning down Margarito for $8 million, another guy, but I think Floyd would have beat him, just like I think Floyd would have battered Antonio Margarito, much like Shane Mosley did. I think Floyd would have beat Mosley earlier at 147.
I think Floyd beats Margarito by decision, like clear, unanimous decision. I don't know if he batters him up the way most batter him up. Different type of fighter.
Yeah, maybe so, because Floyd doesn't open up as much as Shane. I mean, you might have a point there. Floyd would have taken. Floyd
Don't
would
get me
have.
wrong. He would have clearly won, but it would have looked like the Baltimore fight, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Not to bring up that name, by the way, but wow, what a terrible.
But just think of how many avoided guys there were in that. Paul Williams, remember the Paul Williams versus Antonio Margarito fight in Carson, California. But then you also had Josh Cloudy, an avoided fighter in that division at the time. People remember the Josh Cloudy who fought Pacquiao, which rightfully so. I mean, that was his biggest fight. But Cloudy was an avoided fighter at 147, a tough matchup that nobody wanted to face, because even if you win the fight, you're still not going to look good, much like Pacquiao that night. But that was just a deep division with very avoided fighters. And Paul Williams was the guy who was the most avoided. And I just wish he would have got those fights at 147. I mean, just think of all the good fight. A fight with Cotto could have got made.
Think of how fun a Paul Williams week will be, guys. Just think about that. Evander Holyfield will advance, guys. You can wait on Holyfield, but it doesn't look like people are waiting. Pavlik, very short run. You think that's maybe why people aren't voting for him? What do you think?
Yeah, and rightfully so. I mean, very short run. I think they made some bad he made some bad life choices to begin with he had alcoholism, I believe, and issues with that. But also, I think they made some bad choices in moving his career along when he didn't have the options at 160. I think they should have just took the Bernard Hopkins route and kept fighting him at 160 and taking on just the top mandatories at 160 instead of moving him up. He was never the same after Hopkins did what he did to him. They should not have moved, and I knew it was a bad decision at the time. They should not have moved up 10 pounds at a catchweight to fight Bernard Hopkins. There was no reason to do it. None.
Right. I agree that was, in hindsight, that's definitely was a bad call. Shout out to AJ10. Shout out to 92KU. Shout out to Boxing Dialogue. Shout out to G-Funk84. Did a show with him yesterday. Go ahead and check that out, guys.
Good choice. Good show.
Yeah, and then the 92KU, Pavlik, hella overrated, he says. And AJ10 says, okay, before we move on, I am worried about Cotto. He may not get a week. The main poll is stacked because you got Hopkins there. You got Cotto, of course. You got Winky Wright and possibly Evander Holyfield. What do you think, Alex?
Cotto's got to get through the next week, the next time. He's got to get through. Has to. Look, hold off on Holyfield, man. Holyfield's going to get through. Hold off. We got to get Cotto in there. He's got to get a week. And by the way, I wouldn't say Pavlik's overrated because I think people pretty much know what Pavlik is. Maybe he was at the time, but people know where to rank Pavlik at right now. I mean, but there were some good memories. Yeah, there's the fact check right there. But Cotto's got to get his week, man. Y'all got to vote for Cotto. If Frotch doesn't get a week and then Cotto doesn't get a week, I may never recover from it.
Absolutely. Shout out to Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owen. Shout out to AJ10. Who you got? Frotz Kalazagi. Look, we're going to hold off on that for now because we got a stat show right now. Shout out to Alex Alberto G. Shout out to Robesi Ramirez, the Shakur Stevenson Conquer. He's going to be debuting. I believe that's what you meant to say on Saturday. Absolutely. Not really covering him much because I've only seen his gold medal match with Shakur Stevenson, guys. I have not seen him fight any other time, and he's making his professional debut. So.
Is that that's the Cuban cat that everybody's talking about?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I heard a lot of good.
So something to look out.
A lot of good things about him. Yeah.
We'll have a lot to say after he fights and see how he looks. You know what I mean? Hopefully he doesn't get knocked out. Imagine that. Okay. A lot of people will agree on on a lot of things. Afro-Rican in the house. Okay. Look at changing my vote to Pavlik. Look at this. Haplotype. You guys can change your vote, by the way. Okay. Mayweather batters someone at 147. Yeah, maybe versus a UK fighter. Ooh, that's a shot at hat. Okay. But anyway, and Haplotype feels Williams is all wrong for Mayweather. We will talk about that if he gets a week. How about that? Okay. And a lot of other comments. There you go. Calix, the big don't call it a comeback. All right.
Yes.
The triumphant.
He's back.
The return of the one, the only Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Like that.
Y'all must have forgot.
Everybody forgot.
Look, I don't know who he's fighting this weekend. I didn't even do the research to find. He will win, though. He will win. And let me tell you this.
Look at him.
Yeah, that's a G right there. That guy is a stud. And let me tell you this. He's coming for Danny Jacobs at 168. Danny Jacobs better not enter that Shark Tank at 168 because Chavez Jr. might take him out.
No, absolutely. By the way, a 92 AKU, we already did. Don't cry for me, Argentina week. Okay, Maidana already got it. All right.
Yeah.
Maidana had a week. I'm hallucinating. Yeah, he had a week, bro. You guys can check that out.
Where's the fact checker? By the way, I just tested him. I said that Chavez Jr. would beat Danny Jacobs. The fact checker should have immediately nixed that.
I don't know about that, man. Okay.
No, not happening.
Jacobs is weak, but I can't trust Chavez Jr. Says karate.
No, me neither. Me neither. Look, Jacobs. All kidding aside, Jacobs does a number on Chavez Jr. We are joking about this, but Chavez Jr. I think we all know how this goes, right?
Look, this is not AJ10, but I got to do it. Look at that, right? Chavez Jr. had a good performance since his rematch with Brian Vera like 5 years ago.
Yep. Okay. Yep.
So
you're right.
For what it's worth.
Yeah, and I mean he is the weight bully of the era, right? I mean, he was coming in at 192 when he was at middleweight.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, he was just weight bullying middleweights, and ever since he outgrew that division, we saw what's what. And he's undisciplined. I mean, he just expected to live off of his dad's name, I'm supposing. But he's a fun fighter to watch if matched correctly, right?
Right.
I mean, put him in there with any C-level guy who likes to slug, and he's a fun fighter to watch. And there's a market for that, by the way.
Chavez is not on the zone. He's actually he's going to be on Azteca. That's how you know he's gone down. Okay. Dude, I don't think it's on any English thing. I might do a punch by punch for that. I haven't decided yet. I don't know if I want to do a punch by punch. I don't even know his opponent or anything like that. His defense, he was badly drained versus Canelo. What weight would he fight Danny Jacobs in? Let's say they do the fight in November. What weight would it be, Kel?
They're talking about super middle, 168, because Jacobs is moving up to 168, which I think is a good move. I think it's a very good move for him to move up to 168. I heard Jacobs has been having issues with weight as well, which may I'm not making excuses for him, but may explain why against Canelo and Triple G, he came up a little short in both those fights. Maybe he couldn't step on the gas late in fights. Maybe he was a little bit weight drained. I'm not sure, but I think that 168 is a good weight for Danny Jacobs at this point, and I don't know what's a good weight for Chavez Jr. I don't think any weight's a good weight for Chavez Jr. I'm just saying that moving him into fighting Danny Jacobs, I don't know what they're expecting because it's going to be a bad night for him. I just think that they need to there's a market for Chavez Jr. in fun fights, and just match him correctly against C-level fighters. You don't need to. There's no illusions that this guy is going to be a top fighter. So just put him in there with C-level guys who like to throw punches.
You know, I think Chavez Jr. to me is perfect to I think Top Rank should re-sign him, bro. Okay. And
Yeah.
then, like, let's say, you want to feature like this dude right here, okay? Which, by the way, we did a prospect watch on yesterday, Joseph Adorno. But you could feature a lot of younger, obviously better fighters than Chavez, but just he'll get the crowd out there, like they'll show up. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you could feature a lot of young fighters there.
He's a
Okay,
gatekeeper. He's a
absolutely.
gatekeeper.
You guys make sure you
But
check that show out, by the way. Prospect Watch. Okay, that was with G Funk, Mexican Latino Tuesday. Make sure you check that out. Also, Monday, I did a recap with Haplotype. Okay, go ahead, Calix. What was that?
no, I was just gonna say I don't know if Chavez Jr. is the type of guy who would accept um, that gatekeeper thing. I don't know if he's the type of guy who's gonna go in there with younger guys day in and day out and accept that. Like maybe a Baldomir did against Canelo and stuff like that. Or I think Broner is going to become that gatekeeper guy. I think he's going to embrace that because Broner is about the money, and I think he's going to do anything to get those paydays. Whereas Chavez Jr. may not need the money, and I don't think he's willing to do that to his name.
Do you have any illusions that Chavez might get another title shot, or maybe it could be like the WBC 168 like silver champ? Who's a silver champ right now? Can somebody tell me who the silver champ at 168 is?
He's definitely getting a title shot. No question about it. They're going to get him a title shot. Who is he even with now? Who's his promoter? I'm not even sure. But he's going to get a title shot just off the strength of his name.
But by the way, 92 AQ, that was not a good performance. He got robbed, bro. Okay? Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Okay?
I do remember that video.
You think Roy Jones got robbed? Bro, Chavez got robbed, bro, by 3 Vegas escorts, bro. And then why is he with escorts, bro? Like you got money. You could go to the club and get like real girls, can he?
Yeah, it was really weird. Wasn't it after a fight and like there was another dude in the room too? That was weird.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was. They filmed it. It was embarrassing, bro. I mean,
yeah, very embarrassing. I would agree that Jacobs, by this comment, by the way, to a certain extent, that Jacobs doesn't have the killer instinct. I do think he's a bit passive in fights, and we talked about that a couple weeks ago about Jacobs. Is it's sort of odd. He talent wise, he seemed to be there, right there with Canelo and Triple G in those fights. He just, I don't know if it was the not having the killer instinct. I don't know if it's not having that fifth gear. If he was having issues with weight, but I mean, Canelo was having issues with weight as well. So I don't know. There's something missing there. We talked about that. Maybe it is the killer instinct. I'm not sure. But at 168, I do think he matches up well with a lot of guys up there.
I mean, I don't know, dude. Look how, I mean, I understand Fonfara was more like a 175 pounder, but he got destroyed in that fight, bro. Like,
who are you talking about?
Chavez Jr.
Oh no, I'm talking about Danny Jacobs.
Oh, okay. I know you were going off that comment. I apologize. I was
yeah.
He fares well at 160.
No. We, like I said, we know what it is with Chavez Jr. I mean, his biggest moment was
Jacobs
almost
for this fight.
What's that?
If you're Jacobs, you don't push for, you don't like put like, hey, I'll fight this dude, right?
Oh, I pushed for the Chavez Jr. fight big time for later in the year. Yeah, I think that's a good introduction for him at 168. It's a guy with a name.
Right.
He gets his feet wet at 168, gets acclimated with the weight, and then he jumps right into the top 5. I mean, I think he fits in well at that top 5. I mean, it's not a super rich division yet, but and I think we're going to talk about that is it will be. I think we talked about, I mean, just think about the Super 6, what it was and how great that was and how rich the division was at that time. I think super middleweight within the next 5 years is going to be a top division again, because I think you're going to see guys move up from 160 to 168, and Canelo is going to be the guy. And I think he's going to move into 168 because Canelo loves fighting taller guys, loves fighting taller guys. So I think he's going to fit in well at 168, and he's going to want to move up there.
We will see, man. I don't have a lot of high expectations. He's had interviews, a lot of them in Spanish, talking about he knows that if he gets Canelo in the ring again, he'll knock him out. Well, what are your thoughts on that?
No, no, that's
No.
bad.
Well, what if they fight like at an agreed 175-pound weight? Like, do you think he has
It
some
doesn't
shot?
matter. No, they can agree to 200. I mean, they can agree to whatever. Canelo beats him whenever, wherever, at whatever weight. It doesn't matter. He's just a much better fighter. It has nothing to do with weight. I mean, when Chavez
It's
Jr. gets
not
punched,
enough. He's not good enough for the weight to make a difference. What you're saying?
no, he's not good enough. It doesn't matter.
Look
He
at
can
this.
beat Chris Eubank Jr. There you go.
I don't know. I don't. Yeah, he shouldn't fight Chris Eubank Jr. But what do you think of that fight? You think that's doable? You think?
I think it's doable. He won't win, but that's doable.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a guy at 168, wouldn't you want to fight Chavez Jr.? I mean, wouldn't you want that fight? It's an easy win. I mean, and it's a name.
Right. Remember when Ward wanted him?
Yeah.
Ward was like, oh, and he was even praising him. Oh, he's good. He reminds me of his father. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah.
Like his son? Like what?
Yeah. Those were bad times for Ward right there.
Yeah.
Before he stepped up and fought Kovalev.
You know what? I hate to say this, but it would have, like, can you believe that fight would have gotten more attention than the Frotch fight or the Kovalev?
Yeah. Kovalev, though, I don't think it would have gotten more attention than Kovalev.
Yeah, dude, that fight would have done like 400,000 buys pay-per-view.
You think?
Chavez Jr. versus Ward. I'm pretty confident.
Wow, who the hell would buy that though?
A lot of people would have bought that.
Man.
A lot of people would have bought that, man. Come on now, you don't think so? But
yeah, maybe
Ward,
so. A lot of people bought Gotti versus Mayweather. I was one of them. I was being a Gotti fan, so I guess it would have been the same type of matchup. Yeah,
I think most people felt because if you got to remember Mayweather was going up in weight. You know what I mean? So there was a little bit of a mystery there as far as all that goes. But anyway, not what I just said. That was a little bit of a mystery. It really wasn't, but nonetheless, that happens when you go live. Great segue though, since we mentioned Ward. All right, is 168 pounds making a resurgence right now? And we touched on it, speaking about Chavez Jr. and all that. What are your thoughts, Calix?
Like I said, I think in a couple of years there will be a resurgence there. I think these guys, and Danny Jacobs is going to move up to 68. But once Canelo moves up to 68, that becomes a rich division. I think you're going to see guys follow from 160 to 168. You're going to have younger guys moving up and moving into the division. So I think there will be a talent-rich division again. And Jacobs will be there. Canelo will be there. You already have Callum Smith there. Benavidez versus Durrell is coming up in September. So I think guys are going to start mixing it up in that division. And once Canelo moves there, man, it's going to be a new ball game. So there will be a resurgence. I don't know if it'll be as deep as that screen right there. Yeah, Caleb Plant's there as well.
Dude,
he has one of the belts.
Plant what destroyed Chavez in 2 rounds, bro.
Yeah, Eubank Jr. Eubank Jr.'s in there with 2 losses, but he's still up in there. I think he's at like 6 or 7 in the rankings. So I think you'll have some good matchups there. I don't know if it'll be what's on that screen right there, though. When you had Ward and Frotch and Kessler and Durrell, the real Durrell.
Wasn't in the tournament, but Boutte.
Yeah, Boutte was in there. Abraham was moving up from 60 to 68. Jermaine Taylor was moving up from 60 to 68. And that's what I'm talking about. Like when you have guys who move up from middleweight to super middleweight, and then you have guys already planted at 168. They have their flags planted at 168 already. It makes for an interesting division. And that's what you had coming into the World Super 6, the World Boxing Classic. And that was such a great time for the division. And that was an ambitious tournament. There was some ups and downs with it, but I loved that tournament. I love that they did it. And I wish they would do it again for a division.
Well, I wanted to touch on that, man, because the Super Six, it was a fun tournament. However, there was a lot of issues with the tournament. The guys were pulling out. They were putting replacements in. There were so I like tournaments, but I got to be honest, bro. I actually like that.
Alan Green was in there too. Remember
Alec
that?
Green was in it. I think he was the first replacement after Taylor pulled out after that vicious Abraham knockout.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I didn't like the whole point system, and you get 3 points if you win, and what point? Like I didn't like that. I remember Ward being interviewed like, "Hey, you don't really have to win your next fight. Are you really going to try to win? You already got the points to advance." Like that type of stuff just doesn't. There's no such thing as I'm going to bench the starters in boxing, bro, because you got the points.
Well,
You know,
Ward, if you remember that, Ward wasn't the favorite going into that tournament,
he was
and
not. He was
he was
not.
sort of, yeah, he was sort of an underdog pick. Several of us picked him on YouTube, I remember, but he wasn't the Vegas favorite going into that tournament. But he ended up sort of coasting his way into the championship because he had the easiest route. Remember, I mean, he had guys pulling out. Once he beat
Yeah.
Kessler in that first fight, and he was the underdog in that Kessler fight, even at home in Oakland. But once he won that first fight, he kind of coasted through that tournament.
92 AKU. Yes, he is a real deal. Okay. Um,
Just beat the Subway guy.
Look, the Super Six was a good idea, but I hated how it was run. Look, it was a good idea in theory, but I got to be honest, man. I like the way they do those Super Series right now. I like single elimination tournaments in boxing, personally. Uh,
Hmm.
so they
Yeah,
are kind of doing
but
tournaments
here's the
now.
thing, though. What I liked though. It was ambitious in that it was a round robin, so you had multiple good matchups going on. I mean, just think of all the good matchups you had within that tournament. You ended up getting Ward versus Frotch, which you probably wouldn't have got, right?
Right.
I mean, with those two guys' egos, would you have gotten Ward versus Frotch without that tournament? I don't think so. I mean, you
Probably
got
not. I
Jermaine
mean,
Taylor versus Carl Frotch, which ended up being a great fight. Great fight. That
maybe
wasn't
we
the
would have
tournament,
though,
right?
because Frotch won the fight with Darrell, right, and Ward won the
Right.
fight with Kessler.
That's
So
what I'm saying, though. But would
Kessler would have been
Darrell?
out of the picture. Now maybe we wouldn't have gotten Kessler Frotch, okay, but we would have gotten Ward Frotch, I think,
But
because
would you have gotten Darrell versus Frotch overseas though? I mean, just think of that. Just think of the matchups that were forced within that tournament.
yeah, but I mean, I remember Darrell. Remember when Darrell pulled out, and like I just think there was a lot of positives, but me personally, I got to be honest, man. I prefer the single elimination style, the way they're doing it now, and those are great.
Hmm.
We're gonna get hopefully Taylor versus Regis Prograis. You know what I mean?
We
Um,
will. Yep.
so it's because of that single elimination in the end. They did. I think they knew what they were doing, putting those guys on different ends of the bracket, right? But that's it set up that matchup. But I mean, I just think. But I
So you
will
don't think we'll ever see a round robin tournament like that again
no. I
with a
don't.
trophy, all of it going
I
on?
think
I
that was the
mean,
plan. I think the plan was to do a round robin. Okay. But it's I don't in the end I don't think they're gonna do it. I think the single elimination is probably the best way to go. It's easier to follow, like AJ10 said. Look at that fact check. Okay, facts. Okay,
it is easier to follow, but I'm just telling you, so many great matchups were made
yeah.
in that tournament that would not have been made. And I thought it was great for boxing, even with the pullouts. And I think we ended up getting to the top two anyway.
What
You
were your
know,
best memories of the Super Six? You personally?
the Jermaine Taylor versus Carl Froch was the original fight of the tournament, correct? I think that was the fight where Jermaine Taylor was winning big throughout the. AJ, the fact checker, can check
No,
that.
no, no. That
Um,
actually no, no. That was before the Super Six.
so that was before the Super Six.
Yeah. That,
Okay, the Carl Froch versus Kessler fight was fun. I also enjoyed the Carl Froch versus Darrell fight, but to me, the one that um, the one that really sticks out to me was when Kessler came to Oakland, which once again I don't think that would have happened. I know that wouldn't have happened without this tournament, and Ward just did a number on Kessler. Now there were a lot of headbutts, there was a lot of rough housing, but to see Ward beat Kessler and in that fashion, when Kessler was a clear favorite going into that fight, I remember that clearly. And for Ward to do that, he came out with the American flags because they were hyping the country versus country in the tournament as well. And there was a big crowd in Oakland. That's the matchup that really stuck out to me. The championship wasn't all that great because Ward, I thought, clearly beat Froch in that championship. And I don't think either fighter had their best game that night. But that Ward versus Kessler fight was a very fun night.
Absolutely. Now, Goguruga, I know you were asking about this. I couldn't tell you right away. Inoue by destruction. So
destruction. He will knock him out.
Now, there's I'll give it about a 10% chance that Donaire can land some big early. So you never know. But he's got you can't just count him out like that. He's got some chance. So you never know. But I'm definitely favoring Inoue. Well, a shadow of a doubt. But that's in November. You know, we will get there. So we'll get there when we get there. But it's probably going to be the same breakdown. But that's that. We already broke it down. All right. But nonetheless, we'll see how that goes. Donaire's, I think you could it's definitely a top 5 fighter. I don't think anybody could argue that in his division right now. But Inoue is that dude. He's not, if you want to hear us talk about Inoue though, versus Neri, last week's show, go check that out, guys. Okay. Now, what's guaranteed winning the bet? Okay. Guys talking about the bets and all that. Inoue, Isis, Donaire. That's that. My favorite thing was when it comes to the Super 6 man is like everyone says they picked Ward. Okay. But when I was on YouTube, there was some of us that picked Ward, but not everybody was picking Ward. Right.
Right.
And I picked Ward very openly. And I was happy with the results. Many people were picking Doral to win, if you remember.
Yep.
Like I remember people saying, Ward, he's not even the best American in the tournament. Remember that?
Yeah. And what a disappointment Doral became.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at it, his brother ended up having really a more I don't know if you want to say accomplished, but he's put together a nice career. His brother, who is less talented than him. And I think it all went downhill when Doral refused to fight Andre Ward. I mean, he just openly refused that fight.
Right.
And that surprised a lot of people, and that turned a lot of people off. So he was talking about head issues before that fight and all that. And all of a sudden, after all that goes down, he ends up fighting again. So, I mean, if you had issues then, why not now? But that was sad to see, and he just made a lot of bad career choices, a lot of lackluster performances.
Well, Boxing Dialogue just reminded me of, remember the Abraham, and what were your honest thoughts when that happened? To you, was that Roy Jones?
He milked it.
What's his name?
He milked it. Doral milked it.
Think he milked it?
Yeah, he milked it, and he milked it in getting out of the Ford fight. That's what I was talking about. He was talking about. I don't know if you remember. He was going on podcasts. He was going on the internet and articles and posting that
radio was the first podcast I went to.
And he was posting that he went to the doctor and the doctor did MRIs. He was posting all the studies and all that stuff out there. I mean, he was open. He did not want that Andre Ward fight. Not at all.
Yeah. Look, it was something else, man, to try and get Doral. Look, I was on the phone with one of his publicists, and I kept telling her, we can't restrict questions. Okay.
Right.
They were being very careful at the time. All right. So
I remember that.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, he still came on, But he gave his side of the story. That's the only reason we wanted him there. But um, uh, you guys could always search for that Rope It Up Radio. Haplotype. I mean, he feels he faked it. He quit turning like a. You know what? There you go. Ward and Darrell. They said they wouldn't fight each other. I think no. Ward wanted that fight, bro. Ward was like, I'll fight him.
Well, they were friends.
Like I don't know what he's talking about. I'll fight him. Like
Ward yeah, they were. Right, they were friends, and Ward, being a professional, he said, I'd fight him, but Darrell, they both didn't want to fight each other, but Ward's like, I'm a professional, I'll fight him, but Darrell just openly evaded that fight. There's no way around it.
Yeah, no, dude, it wasn't even like a question. I remember his trainer. Remember, guys, they agreed to this tournament from the beginning, and he comes out and no, this is prize fighting, not pride fighting. Remember that?
Right. Yeah.
The trainer said, and I'm like, well, but you are getting a prize, you are getting paid, okay? But
clear
now,
as day, he said it.
Was beat Kessler and all that. Everything just changed, So it was just interesting, man. But man, was that some, But yes, I remember the drama behind it, man. I remember the drama. And I don't want to question Darrell, but I do have questions about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But his brothers.
I don't know about that.
I don't think so.
No, I don't know, but we will see. Chet Smoke, what's going on? Saludos. I'm being joined by Calix here. This is CalCast Wednesday. All right. By the way, guys. All right, but by the way, make sure every Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Mountain, 4 p.m. Pacific, you subscribe. Okay, you tune in and subscribe to Ringside Reporter. We got Joe Habib out there. He's a big supporter of this channel. And Calix, are you subscribed to Ringside Reporter?
I definitely am.
Let's check them out, man. They have a great show on Wednesdays with Eric. And also, do not forget, all right, Eric Morales. It's going to be a terrible week, August 9th to 16th. was a success. All right. We had some great discussions about Roy. Me and Galaxy, we went over the bars of his song. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys got to check that out. Last week's show. Okay. And quick thoughts right now. Are you excited about this week, Alex?
No, not really. Not really.
Unbelievable. He's just mad. Look. Cotto and Hopkins beat Morales and eliminated. Morales came back, beat them both. All right.
That's why, man. Cotto deserves a week. Look, Morales was gonna get a week too. Like, why didn't you just vote for Cotto?
Yeah, you got
a week. Get him out of the way.
Second try.
Morales is gonna get his week. But no, in all seriousness, yeah. I mean, Morales, what a career. What a legend.
You guys tune in next week for that. And don't forget to throw a jab at that like button. Right? And again, Monday night with Haplotype, the weekend recap. Check that show out. And yesterday with G-Funk, Mexican Latino Tuesday. All right, I already got Calix set up. I'm sorry, Calix is already set up for Wednesday next week. But Tuesday next week, Puncher's Chance with Ashy Knuckles. Make sure you guys tune into that. I already got him locked in for next week. Are you excited for that? Are you going to tune into that show, Calix?
I am.
Archive.
No doubt.
Live. All right. Now, with that said, I want to go back to memory lane. Right?
Take it back. Way back Wednesday.
Absolutely. Right? Way back when. I like that. That's very clever. Way back Wednesday. Let me just read this real quick. I thought Inoue KOs Donaire 2 at first, but only Walters did that at 125. No one at 118. Inoue went 12 with Carmona, who's been killed by 3 people. I think Donaire goes 12 UD. You think he's going to go into distance, Calix?
No, I don't see it. My boy is going to just beat him down. I'm telling you. He'll stop him within 6. Within 6. He'll stop him within 6, and then he's coming for Neary.
Well, good luck with Neri, but I don't know about that. But let's go. Let's take it back, man. Look at this. Season 1, bro.
Let's
Okay,
take a trip.
oh,
Let's take a trip.
contender. All right, right now, like yeah, you get they do have the new contender. People check it out. I check it out at times. I'll be honest, I did not check the last season out.
It was
It's just
pretty good. It was pretty good, but they
not
didn't have the
promoted like you
talent.
used to, though, man.
When Shane Mosley Jr.'s in the championship, you knew the talent wasn't there, and then Brandon Adams got
Yeah, but it was
beat
never
soundly
about.
by Charlo.
It was
What's
never
that?
about. It was never about that, though. Look at the guys. Look at these guys.
No, but I'm telling you, look at the names on there. Look at the names on there. Sergio Mora,
Right.
Peter Manfredo Jr. You had guys who went on with decent careers, right? I mean,
And you had Sylvester
Ishe
Stallone.
Smith. Yeah, you had Ishe Smith in there. Jesse Brinkley did some okay things. Then you had Alfonso Gomez, who ended up beating a washed up Arturo Gatti. But you had guys who went on and did things with their career, even in season 2. I think that was a season with K9 Bundridge. AJ, the fact checker, can check that. I think that was a season with
What
K9, and then
was
you
the
had,
question for AJ?
I think K9 Bundridge was in season 2. Is that correct? Or was that the season with Saki Obika and
Go to check that out at AJ10.
yeah, I'm getting season 2 and season 3 confused, but you had some good names in those first 3 seasons. I mean, Saki Obika came out of there. Stevie Forbes came out of there. So you had some decent names in those first 3 seasons. Was season 2, yeah. So Stevie Forbes was in season 2. K9 was in season 2. So you had some good names in there, but that season 1 was an incredible season. What do you remember about that season? Because I have a lot of memories from that. And the one thing I remember is sitting down with family members and friends who had no idea about anything about boxing. I remember talking to a coworker about this last year. She's not a boxing fan, and she said she went to Vegas for the championship,
Wow.
for the championship in the consolation match. So she's not even a boxing fan. So I think a lot of people who didn't watch boxing tuned into that. I have a lot of great memories about that first season.
Well, the first season is what I remember the most. Okay. Um, look, what wasn't Gomez in the first? Yeah, he was. Alfonso Gomez.
Alfonso Gomez, yep. He
Yeah.
called out Peter Manfredo was the favorite going into the season, and then Alfonso called him out in the first match. Called
Wow.
him out and said,
That
"I
was a
want to
good
fight
fight
him."
too. I remember that.
And
But
this was a middleweight tournament, and Alfonso Gomez was a welterweight.
yeah, that's the other thing I remember. Like dudes that didn't belong in those divisions, but they did it because the exposure. You can't blame them, right?
They did it for the exposure, and they also did it because they had to fight every 3 to 5 days, so they had to. They couldn't keep cutting weight, so they had to have welterweights and junior middleweights fighting at middleweight, basically.
Now, what was the name of the knockoff show with De La Hoya? What was the name of that one? Anybody remember the name of
De
that show?
La Hoya had a show.
Yeah, it was like their answer to the contender. Like I don't know if you
Oh,
remember that, but he had a
I
show.
don't.
Okay, but AJ just dropping facts over here. But if AJ gave me the name of that show, okay. So
What made me think of it is the UFC has a contender series going on right now, so that
well,
made
he
me think of
took
the
that name.
contender. Yeah, the original contender was on NBC, and it was huge. It was huge. I mean, the ratings were through the roof, and then they got away from for whatever reason they didn't pick it up, and then ESPN picked up season 2.
Right. Well, it's not AJ, but the next great champ. I remember that one. You don't remember that one?
No, not at all.
Okay. I think haplotype answer why you probably don't remember because it's
But I wish Al Heyman. I mean, he's a network boxing guy. I wish he would bring back a show like this and put some guys on Fox or something like that, prime
maybe
time.
some of
And
the guys he has on, yeah, like some, C level, B level names, right?
yeah, and give a guy a shot at stardom. But that was such a great show, such a great show. And once again, I mean, speaking of another tournament where a guy flew under the radar, Sergio Mora was not picked by anybody who knew these guys coming into the tournament. I mean, Peter Manfredo was the big favorite coming in, and then Sergio ended up cruising through the tournament. I think he beat Ishii Smith in one of the rounds, and then ended up uh, fighting Manfredo in the championship. Manfredo was a huge favorite, and Sergio ended up beating him.
So here's what I'm looking at. So AJ10, our residential fact checker. Okay, I know all you channels out there are jealous. Okay, but uh, the next great champ was in 2004. That was a De La Hoya show, right? And the contender was in 2005. So it's actually
So
first.
that was wow.
Okay,
Did not know that.
now according to Haplotype, Fox rushed it out to beat the NBC to market. Okay, and that's probably why it sucked, because they rushed it, because they heard of the idea, they try to beat him to it. But let me tell you something, man. You think this guy right here was a reason, or these guys is a big
Yeah.
reason why it was a success?
Yep. Yep. The marketing was great. The stardom. They'd bring somebody in every week. I think they had George Foreman come speak to the guys. I think Angelo Dundee came in one time and worked with Peter Manfredo or something like that. So they had some superstars who would come in every week and speak to these guys, and it ended up being a great season, great show. And you had some good, but they didn't show the actual fights. I think that's a lot of the boxing nerds weren't happy about that, but people were tuned in for the stories.
Right. Is they made it seem like Sergio Mora was an exciting fighter. Okay,
They did.
oh, damn, this guy's good. I can't wait. And then I would actually watch his fights and like, damn, like, I don't know about
And then the sound effects. They'd show a punch in slow motion, and then they pan out to the crowd. Oh,
right.
And they had like a crowd of like 30 people.
Right. Well, how much is the champ? I know you said like one of your friends said, a coworker, that how many do you remember? Was it like an arena?
Where at?
For the championship?
The championship? No, yeah. It was in that was in MGM. That was in the regular MGM Grand Garden Arena, I believe. I mean, They had a good crowd there. Yeah. They had a good crowd there. They had some stars that came out for there, and the championship was for $1 million. I don't know if you remember that. Now they're doing $250. I mean, the champion gets $250. And then after season 1, I think it went down to $500,000 in season 2. But Sergio fought and won $1 million that night. $1 million.
Absolutely. Now, do you remember Otis Griffin? What did that guy ever do?
I don't remember Otis Griffin.
Yeah, he chose the wrong show.
He certainly did.
Were there? You remember that?
Yeah. Yeah. I thought I remembered Oscar being on there too, but maybe not.
No, he was on. He ran the other one, bro.
Yeah, I thought he made an appearance on that show, but I guess not.
Yeah, the content was more about storylines and family and their journey than boxing. You agree with that?
Yep, it certainly was, and that was around the prime time of. Remember when they were doing? That's a couple of years after that they started. That was Mayweather versus De La Hoya that started the 24/7, right? Was that the original one?
De La Hoya Mayweather was the first 24/7. Yeah.
Yeah, and then before that, you had on HBO, you had
Countdown.
What was the Countdown? Yeah, you had a lot of countdown shows,
by the way.
Yeah, they've gotten away from all that. I used to love the countdown shows. I loved the countdown shows more than 24/7. I don't know if you agree with that. I used to love those countdowns because I thought the 30 minutes was a perfect time to just break down the show, to break down a fight. 24/7 started to get a little bit redundant, maybe.
Yeah.
But I thought my favorite 24/7 was Mayweather versus Hatton by far.
Yeah.
I thought Mayweather versus Hatton was great 24/7.
Yeah, that was definitely great because Hatton was an interesting character. You know what I mean? Dude, like they could have those producers would have made Bragimov Klitschko look exciting. Okay, all right. They would just showing the punches landed. That's it. Like, they could edit everything else out. A friend of mine went pro and fought Otis Griffin. Okay, interesting. Staples Center. I'm not sure what you're fact checking there, AJ.
That might have been where Staples Center was. Where that's where the last Staples Center was where the last championship was. Now, is he saying that the Staples Center was the original championship?
I'm not sure.
I don't think so. 24/7 grading account. I like the countdown show better.
Yeah.
Staples Center. So Staples Center was season one
Okay.
championship. So maybe she went to L.A. I don't know. I thought she said Vegas.
Okay. I mean, it could have been season 2, maybe, or
Maybe
it's
Staples Center was
specified.
season one. I don't know. But
No,
the last championship of the last season was Staples Center too. So that would make sense.
absolutely. Man, was that a hell of a season, man? I remember, like, I tuned in for the Mora, of like the Mora, what's his name, Manfredo or whatever. Okay,
Yeah.
I tuned in for that, man, and then I followed like Gomez. I followed their careers after that. They got a lot of big fights after that. Gomez ended up
Yep.
getting a fight against Gotti. That was a big fight for him. Gotti was way past it at that point, you know,
Manfredo got a bunch of fights on ESPN right after
yeah,
that until
but
the up until that Calzaghe fight where he was
yeah,
overwhelmed. But I don't know if you remember Jesse Brinkley got a lot of fights on ESPN after that.
yes.
Ishe Smith got some good fights, but he was so boring to watch. But I don't know if you remember this too. They had a rematch of the championship a couple months later, and Manfredo beat Sergio Mora, but Sergio Mora ended up getting the a very controversial decision in the rematch.
Hey, the fact checker's having a rough night today. Okay, uh, you know, it's all
Staples
right.
Center was the rematch. That's right. Staples Center was the rematch because I remember them fighting at the Staples Center. That's what made me double back to that. But yeah, that I do remember clearly that being the championship being in Vegas.
Well, there you go, Caesar's Palace, Las Vegas.
All
So
right.
we got that clarified. Good job, everybody.
What was your
Right.
favorite? What was your favorite countdown? Do you remember?
Oh yeah.
HBO
Oh,
countdown show.
Pavlik Taylor,
That's the one I was gonna say too. That Pavic Taylor
dude. That
countdown was incredible.
it was really good. That countdown was good. I also liked. I'm trying to think of some others, but um, there might have
Pavic
been some.
Taylor was great
It's the one I
because
remember.
Pavlik's trainer was talking so much trash, talking about Pavlik makes guys pee down their leg in sparring when he punches them, all kind of stuff. I don't know if you remember that. And then Emmanuel Stewart was kind of rolling his eyes at the stuff the guy was talking, but it ended up being a great countdown. That's the one that I clearly remember right there.
Okay. Yeah, that countdown, man. I love that countdown. What was your favorite legend? Remember Legendary Nights?
Yes.
The Taylor Chavez one. I love that one. But there's
Yeah,
some other great ones.
Taylor Chavez, and then
Foreman
obviously,
Moore.
yeah, four more. That's the one I was about to say. Foreman versus Moore is my favorite because it's just watching Moore just couldn't accept that he lost, and then Foreman was talking about. I don't know if you remember that how he was measuring Moore all night, and that he was measuring that right hand, and it was only a matter of time. And then Moore was saying, "Bullshit, bullshit." He got lucky. He caught me with a lucky punch. But that was a great legendary night right there. That's
Oh, I remember
probably the
that.
one that I
You got
remember the
lucky.
most.
You got lucky. Like I remember he was like emphasizing that. But regardless of what it was, bro, you got knocked out. you know.
Yeah, win or
It-
lose, you lost. You
yeah.
lost, no matter how you lost. But then Gotti versus Ward was they put an interesting spin on that one. That one was a little longer than normal, and then Jim Lampley was crying all over the place.
Yeah, that's right. Damn Lambley. I remember the dude, I swear to God, bro. Okay. This dude cried, right? Because what he say? The oh my god, the Foreman Moore one. Okay, this is what he goes. He goes. I was talking. Like, he starts normal. I was talking to George, and he told me that he was gonna let a punch. Wow, he got it right, bro. That's Foreman
Yep,
told him he was gonna set him up with the right hand.
yep, that's exactly how he did it too.
Remember what was your like? Jim Lampley like crying moment. Like, what moments do you remember there? Like, what? Why are you crying about that? Mine.
There were several with Pacquiao, and then he cried. I don't know if you remember this, but he had a soft spot for
Vargas.
Vargas. He had a real soft spot for Vargas, and
He came from nothing.
wasn't there a legendary Knights De La Hoya Vargas or something like that? Because I remember him talking about
I'm
that.
not sure. Let's get a fact check on that. But yeah, I don't know. I don't remember.
He was talking about how Vargas got knocked out by De La Hoya and how he had to try to keep it together after that. He had a very soft spot for Vargas, so I remember him crying several times about Vargas. De La Hoya, he was very disturbing with talking about De La Hoya too. He'd always call him a beautiful man, stuff like that. It was weird.
I remember when he was like, and they think that because he made money that he'll never fight again. He loves to fight. Like, get the fuck out of here. And then the dude talked about Vargas coming from poverty, like he's the only fighter in history to come from poverty.
Right.
Okay? Like he loved him. So he had his favorites, Lampley, and he made it so clear.
There's no doubt.
Um, uh, Jim Lampley crying because the dude in the HBO truck retired. Okay, by the way, right after he just breezed through that one dude that was in a coma, fighting for his life. By the way, okay,
The one that I remember clearly too is and this was a legendary nights too. Is one of my favorite legendary nights was what is it? Bo versus Galata at Madison Square Garden. I don't know if you remember this.
yeah,
When they were about to wrap it up, he's talking about his daughter is somewhere in the stadium, and he's got to go find his daughter. He starts crying, talking about his daughter somewhere in the stadium.
yeah. My daughter, like, chill, bro. Okay, I remember. You remember when George was telling, like, I don't know who he was. We could just hear him, like, young man, don't do that. Don't do that. Like,
don't
dude,
do that. You don't want to. You don't want to do that, young man. You don't want to do that.
Yeah. Like
George Foreman's holding like 7 people
I would stop immediately, bro. I would stop what I'm doing immediately. Immediately.
Yeah.
Look at that. Right? The show's on there, the notes. But look at I'm trying to say this name. Mohamed Abdul Salam. I can't say it, guys. Sorry. But Mohamed, like Lampley was like, oh, Mohamed, it's just an update. He's fighting for his life. You know, he was a warrior. And oh, by the way, make sure you guys donate. Remember the HBO was asking for donations?
Right.
Oh, sorry. At the time, they were owned, bro, but by Time Warner Corporation, bro. Like they could have footed the bill, right? But that aside, he breezed through that like a fighter almost dying, like man, like whatever, right? But the dude in the truck, I'll never forget it. I did a whole video about it. Like, oh, he was with us for 10 years or 30 years, whatever. And you'll always be remembered. And then they show the dude in the back, right, working. And then he's like this. He's like, and then he takes off his headsets. Like, dude, I'm watching a fucking boxing fight, bro. Like, I don't care about the dude. God bless the guy. I'm sure he's a great guy, but I don't care about the dude in the truck. I don't. Maybe Calix does. I don't know.
He cried several times on his show too. I forgot the name of the show he had on HBO.
All right, AJ10 says he thinks. So it's not a fact, so we don't know. I can't use a fact checker unless it's a fact. But Malamé is in a wheelchair now. Yeah, man. Very, very sad situation. What happened there? They dropped the ball. You read the story about that. It'll make you mad, man. It is insane. That donation request was sickening. Now, I couldn't believe when HBO was asking people to donate. Like, I couldn't believe it. And that technical director, is that what he was? The fuck out of here, bro. Okay. Oh, he was such a good person. Like, get the hell out of here, bro. Okay.
Lampley had a lot of moments, man. That HBO, and we've done videos about this in the past.
Yeah.
That HBO crew went down big time over the years. I mean, it was getting worse and worse and worse. Lampley with his stuff, and then I was never a fan. Look, I love Roy to death, but I was never a fan of Roy or George Foreman when he was doing it as commentators, and then Max just became more insufferable as the years went on too. He just overanalyzed every single thing, and he had to compare every single fighter to some other great fighter in the past. It's like, come on, just call the fight.
That's the guy who switches the cameras. Maybe him leaving was a sign. that, that was dumb, bro. But I think what it was is it's just I don't think it's a coincidence. They built like a little culture amongst themselves, and that's it. Just like he devolved into that, Max. Like just to end it with this, my final thoughts as far as that goes before we end the show. Max, like I'll never forget. Speaking of overanalyzing, okay, Juan Diaz beat Katsides, and like everybody knew Katsides won, right?
Yeah.
But Katsides was, saying he was robbed and all that. Okay, so Katsides, I was robbed, and then everyone's like, I don't know what he saw. And then Max, I swear, he did like a 5-minute speech on groupthink, and maybe, we were just in a groupthink, and we ourselves saw Juan Diaz winning, but he didn't really win. So it's always a possibility. And then he went on this whole like dude, it's not that complicated. The dude didn't win, and that's it.
Right. Overanalyzing, and then sometimes he'd be a dick with the microphone after fights. Like, I mean, I remember there was one time in particular, I don't remember what fight it was after, but he really goaded Floyd into an altercation almost, and it's like, man, just give the guy I don't remember what fight it was after. It's like, just give the guy the microphone and let him give his spiel. And then I didn't understand that.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I was hoping that ESPN would not pick him up as far as boxing, but everybody knew it was going to happen when HBO went off the air, that Max was going to get back on the air on ESPN, which Max is on ESPN already, but I was hoping they keep him away from the boxing stuff, but we all knew that wasn't going to happen.
Well, compared to everyone else in ESPN, he's a lot better, to be honest. But yeah, I agree with you. We're at 27 likes. Hopefully, in the next top of the hour, we'll get to those 30 likes. It's always the goal. But with that said, Calix, any final thoughts?
Check out CalCastBoxing. Hit that sub button when you're there, and look out for the weekly videos. And I'll be doing a boxing betting odds tomorrow night for this weekend's fights. August not active month as far as fights from the schedule, but once September hits, man, it's going to start heating up in boxing. There's a lot of good matchups coming.
Absolutely, man. So thanks a lot for Calix for being on. Here is the schedule, everybody. Make sure you tune in. By the way, there is the link. Scroll down. Vote on the polls. Okay, we're live Mondays through Thursdays on this channel. Tomorrow's DStyleBoxing conversation with Reggie Owens. Make sure you check that out. This is DStyleBoxing. And Calix, what do we say?
Keep it boxing. Peace.
And we're out, guys.